You are not fading. You are not becoming invisible. You are just wearing a hairstyle that was designed for a different version of your face. And that ends today. I researched the worst style and beauty mistakes and youth-boosting fixes for mature women, so you get simple, proven transformations that work instantly. Today we are perfecting 5 haircuts that make women over 80 look instantly refreshed, lifted, and beautifully alive. And by part 3, you will want to pause and look in the mirror. I mean it. We are covering the Soft Tapered Pixie, the face-framing feathered bob, the Voluminous Crown Shag, the Swept Silver Lob, and the rounded layered cut. Part 2 alone could save you years of looking tired without ever knowing why. Subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path. And let's start with the cut that women ask their stylists about more than any other. 1. The Soft Tapered Pixie. Let me ask you something. When was the last time your hair genuinely lifted your face instead of pulling it down? If nothing comes to mind quickly, it is not because you have lost something. It is because you have been wearing a shape that was never designed for your bone structure at this stage of your life. And the Soft Tapered Pixie is the haircut that changes that conversation completely. Here is what most women over 80 do not realize about their hair. After a certain point, the weight of even medium-length hair begins to work against the face rather than for it. It drags the jawline down. It adds shadow beneath the cheekbones. It creates heaviness exactly where you want lightness. And nobody tells you this because salons are not trained to talk about it. The Soft Tapered Pixie removes all of that weight in one appointment. It is not the blunt, severe pixie from decades past. This version is cut with soft, feathered graduation at the sides and nape, so the hair barely grazes the ear and floats away from the jaw entirely. The crown keeps length, enough to show movement, enough to add visual height. And here is what that does to your face. Your cheekbones appear higher. Your eyes appear wider. The natural structure you have carried your entire life finally has nothing hiding it. Honestly, this is the one I wish I could hand to every woman who walks into a salon saying she wants something low maintenance. Because the Soft Tapered Pixie is low maintenance. But it is also the most quietly powerful thing you can do for your face after 80. The swap here is clear. If you are wearing a shapeless, grown-out cut that hits below the ear with no graduation, swap it for this tapered version where the perimeter is soft and the crown carries the height. If your current pixie has blunt, hard edges, ask your stylist to recut those edges with point cutting or scissor over comb technique, so they feather naturally rather than sitting flat. Maintenance is simple. A trim every 5 to 6 weeks keeps the taper clean without letting it grow heavy. Ask for graduation rather than blunt trimming every time. That one instruction makes the difference between a cut that lifts and one that flattens. Retention moment. One of the most elegant women I have ever seen was 83, wearing this exact cut, and every single person in that room noticed her first. Not because of anything surgical, because of the architecture of her haircut. The texture of silver and white hair actually makes this cut more beautiful, not less. The natural coarseness gives it volume and movement that younger hair simply cannot replicate. Your bone structure was always this refined. This cut finally shows it. Coming up next, part 2 covers the face-framing feathered bob, and what it does around your eyes is something your stylist has almost certainly never explained to you. 2. The face-framing feathered bob. Have you ever looked at a photograph of yourself and thought, something about this just looks heavier than I feel? Not your weight. Your face, your expression, your whole presence. That is not age doing that. That is the wrong framing doing that. And the face-framing feathered bob is specifically built to reverse it. Here is the insight that changes everything. Most bobs given to women over 70 are cut on a straight horizontal line at the jaw or chin. That straight line draws the eye horizontally, which widens the lower face and makes the jaw appear heavier than it is. It is the single most common styling mistake for mature women, and it has been happening in salons for decades because it is the easiest cut to execute. The face-framing feathered bob is different in a very specific way. The front sections, the pieces that fall forward and frame your face, are cut with long feathered layers that angle toward the chin rather than sitting bluntly against it. Those angled pieces move the eye diagonally upward, toward your cheekbones, toward your eyes, toward the most beautiful geography of your face. This one is everything. That diagonal line is the difference between a haircut that makes you look tired and one that makes you look genuinely refreshed. And around your eyes, the feathered layers at the front create movement that draws attention upward. When styling product or a light finishing cream is worked through those feathered pieces and they curve gently toward the face, they frame your eyes the way a portrait photographer frames a subject. Nothing else does this at this level of simplicity. Your swap is this. If you are wearing a blunt chin-length bob with no interior layering and no feathering at the front, the correction is twofold. Ask for internal layers removed through the body of the bob for lightness, and ask specifically for feathered graduation on the front sections. Not wispy, not thin, feathered, meaning the edges are soft rather than blunt. Honestly, I have watched this cut shave what looked like a full decade off women who thought their hair was simply done. It was never done. It was just squared off. Maintenance for the face-framing feathered bob. Every 6 weeks, ask your stylist to repoint cut the front sections specifically. This is where bluntness creeps back in fastest, and keeping those feathered edges fresh is what keeps the lifting effect working every single day. The feathered bob also works beautifully with silver and white hair, because the feathered edges catch light in a way blunt cuts simply cannot. Your natural hair color becomes an asset rather than something to manage. Next up, Part 3 is the one that addresses thinning at the crown specifically, and the cut that creates the appearance of fullness there without a single product. I promise you have not heard this approach before. 3. The Voluminous Crown Shag. Let's talk about the thing nobody says out loud. If you have noticed that the top of your head looks flatter, thinner, or more sparse than it did even 5 years ago, you are not imagining it, and you are not alone. Hair density at the crown is one of the most common changes women experience after 80. And the way most salons respond is to tell you to use dry shampoo or a thickening spray. That is the wrong answer. The right answer is a haircut. The Voluminous Crown Shag was designed specifically around this challenge. It is built from the inside out, meaning the layers are placed not at the perimeter of the hair, but at the crown and the sections closest to the scalp at the top of the head. Those internal layers are cut shorter than the outer layers, and when they spring upward, which they do naturally, they push the outer layers up with them. This is the retention moment right here. The illusion of a full crown is not created by products coating your hair from the outside. It is created by the cut itself building architecture from the inside. Shorter internal layers create lift. That lift creates volume. That volume creates the appearance of density. No product required. The Voluminous Crown Shag also includes soft fringe, not a full, heavy bang, but a curtain-style fringe that is longer at the center and feathers outward toward the temples. This fringe placement does something very specific for women over 80. It breaks the visual line across the forehead, draws the eye to the center of the face rather than the width, and adds softness to the upper face that no other cut replicates. If you are currently wearing your hair without any fringe, and you have noticed your forehead feeling more exposed than it used to, this curtain fringe is the swap that changes your whole reflection in under 10 seconds of styling time. Your before and after swap is this. If you are wearing a flat, layered cut that sits close to the head with no internal graduation and no fringe, the Voluminous Crown Shag is the structural opposite. Ask your stylist specifically for shorter internal crown layers, not thinning shears which remove texture, but actual shorter lengths at the root area of the crown sections that create a natural spring. Maintenance. A light diffuser on low heat and a small amount of curl-enhancing cream or mousse worked into the crown sections while the hair is damp will activate the internal layers and keep the volume alive between appointments. Refresh every 4 to 5 weeks. And here is something I genuinely want you to hear. Your silver hair is not making this harder. It is making it more beautiful. The coarser texture that comes with silver and white hair is exactly what makes the crown shag hold its shape and movement in a way that pigmented hair at this length simply cannot match. Part 4 is the Swept Silver Lob, and what it does for the neck and jawline specifically is something that will make you reconsider everything you have been told about length after 80. For the Swept Silver Lob. Bold truth. Someone needs to say it directly. The idea that women over 80 should automatically go shorter is not wisdom. It is a habit. And habits are not the same as solutions. The Swept Silver Lob is proof that the right longer cut does not age you. It refines you. A lob, a long bob, sits between the collarbone and the jaw. For women over 80, the version that works is the Swept Silver Lob, which is specifically shaped with a gentle sweeping angle. slightly longer at the back, lifting to slightly shorter at the front. That angle does something precise. It visually elongates the neck, creates the appearance of a lifted jaw, and opens the side profile in a way that a straight horizontal cut never achieves. Here is the key insight. The neck and jawline area is where visual aging becomes most apparent in a mirror. Not because those features are flawed, but because the wrong haircut creates shadow and weight in exactly that zone. The Swept Silver Lob removes that shadow by angling the hair away from and upward above the jawline at the front while keeping warmth and softness at the back. Honestly, I have seen the Swept Silver Lob make women look so naturally refreshed that their own family members asked if they had done something different. Not to their hair, to their face. That is what the right framing does. It changes the face without touching the face. Your swap. If you are wearing a straight horizontal cut that sits bluntly at the jaw with no angle and no graduation, the correction is to ask for a sweeping disconnection. Ask your stylist to take the back sections 1/2 to 1 full inch longer than the front sections, and to cut the front on a slight inward angle rather than straight across. That single structural change creates the swept effect. For women with any natural wave or texture in their silver hair. And many women over 80 do develop a natural wave they never had before. The Swept Silver Lob is the ideal canvas. Those waves create movement in the body of the lob that looks effortlessly polished with almost no styling required. Maintenance. Every 6 weeks, ask for the perimeter only to be refreshed rather than a full restyle. Keeping the angle intact at the perimeter is everything. It is what maintains the sweep and the lifting effect through the full 6 weeks between visits. This one is not about trying to look younger. It is about letting the woman you actually are be visible to everyone in the room. Your natural elegance does not need to be hidden by a shape that was chosen for convenience rather than for your bone structure. And now part 5. The rounded layered cut. And the reason this specific cut opens the eye area in a way that is genuinely unlike anything else on this list is something I cannot wait to show you. 5. The rounded layered cut. There is a shape that no stylist ever names out loud when they give you this haircut. But it is doing something extraordinary to your face while it sits on your head every single day. It is called the rounded layered cut. And the word rounded is the entire point. Most cuts for women over 80 are shaped with hard horizontal lines at the perimeter, or sharp angles at the sides. Those lines are practical. They are fast to cut. And they are quietly aging you every morning you look in the mirror, because hard, straight, horizontal lines echo the natural downward pull of the face over time. They reinforce it rather than counteracting it. The rounded layered cut is shaped so that the outer perimeter of the hair, the overall silhouette, curves gently. The sides are graduated to be slightly fuller at the cheekbone level, tapering softly toward the nape. The top is layered so the crown carries the highest visual point of the silhouette. That rounded shape acts like a visual counterweight to the natural downward movement of the face. Here is what that means for your eyes specifically. When the fullest visual point of your haircut sits at cheekbone level rather than at your jaw or neck, the eye of anyone looking at you is drawn upward. Up toward your cheekbones. Up toward your eyes. Up toward the most animated, alive, expressive parts of your face. That is not an accident. That is architecture working in your favor. Honestly, this is the one I would choose for my own mother. Not because it is the most dramatic transformation on this list, but because it works every single day without effort, without constant styling, without fighting her natural hair texture. The rounded layered cut cooperates with your hair rather than demanding something from it. Your swaps here are precise. If you are wearing a cut where the sides are flat and the crown has no height, swap to a cut where the side sections are graduation layered to sit out slightly at the cheekbone, and where the crown sections are cut progressively shorter from the perimeter inward, creating that internal lift. If your current silhouette is angular or boxy, the rounding happens at the perimeter trim. Ask specifically for your stylist to cut the sides on a curved rather than straight guideline. Maintenance is extremely low. Every 5 to 7 weeks for a perimeter refresh only. The internal layers do not need to be reset frequently, because the rounded graduation holds its shape naturally in silver and white hair texture. And here is the thing I want you to carry from this entire video. At 80, you are not working against your age. You are working with it. Silver hair, natural texture, the specific bone structure that has refined itself over decades. These are not challenges. They are the materials of someone truly extraordinary. The right haircut does not subtract years. It reveals you. You just learned 5 specific haircuts: the soft tapered pixie, the face-framing feathered bob, the voluminous crown shag, the swept silver lob, and the rounded layered cut, that most women spend years trying to find by accident. You did not just watch a video. You changed the conversation you are going to have at your next salon appointment. Your bone structure was always this refined. Your silver hair was always this stunning. Now you have the exact words to make sure your haircut finally shows it. Tell me in the comments, which of these 5 haircuts feels most like yours? Which one made you stop and think, that is exactly what I have been looking for? I read every single comment, and I would love to know. Next time, we are uncovering the biggest hair color mistakes that age women over 80, and the one tonal change that makes silver hair look luminous instead of flat. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I will see you in the next one.